I'm here with Colin Campbell.
Hi, I'm a recent Max graduate, and we're here at Fan Expo 2013, and we're self-published in a new independent science fiction comic, and trying to sell our wares. And the start for me was going to Max because beyond the teaching, beyond just the physical bricks and mortar building of like having a place where you go and you learn, and they teach you that stuff while whipping you. They don't whip you. It's the only place I know of its kind, especially certainly in Toronto. Where there are passionate, committed artists, specifically catering to sequential arts, to comics. The only place I know of where you can get something approximating. A traditional, hardcore, fundamental background in the stuff that you need to know. And you can be like I was. You can be someone who likes comics and appreciated comics and did them all their life, and you can think that you know what you're doing. But you don't really, and you need someone, and ideally a panel of people to say, it's like, this is fine, this is good, it shows effort, but you're not doing it right, and this is what you're doing wrong, and you'll think it's harsh, but when you see it, you're like, man, that guy was right. And that's one the biggest part of it.
Yeah, what was the most important thing you learned there?
Can I get your pictures?
I think it was largely a lesson to do with the actual nature of comics, the mechanics of it itself, the flow, the composition, what makes comics unique relative to other art forms, the things that only comics can do, that movies can't do, that cinema can't do, that radio can't do, that books, that novels can't do. It's sequential, panel for panel transition using a visual language, a kind of visual syntax, visual storytelling. Because that's all I want to do, is I want to tell stories.
Exactly.
But it's not just storyboarding, and it's not just novelization. You have got to learn how to express the world in visual mechanisms that can be understood by everyone. People who are paying attention to the plot, and people it's just got to be understood and clearly readable. And that's one of the many things they teach you. And apart from that, it's packed with like-minded people, and if you go through it and you run the gauntlet, and you come out the other side with contemporaries, with peers that you network with, and that will hopefully be lifelong friends. And you see them doing the same kind of stuff that you're doing. And I imagine a lot of people in a place like this will be really intimidating, because it's like you're unsure of yourself. You don't maybe it's like you're standing next to people like just over there. It's like David Finch and Dave Ross and Mike Mignola and you have to train that fear out of you and realize that you put in the time, you know what you've been doing, and you sort of you went through the process with other people who are in the same boat, and one day you wake up and you're all here, you're all doing the same thing.
That's excellent.
And you feel like you have the right to be there. And I think Becca said it better, actually, but like, that kind of stuff.
Right there. Got a couple people on the side.
Jared,
and
then you get here, and they're all great guys. They're all. It's like, and we're all doing it. We're all hustling it, and it's and you. It's like you wouldn't even. It's not even a question. You wouldn't be able to do it without that, because otherwise you're just alone out here. But all of a sudden it's like you've got family, you got friends, and like every 10 minutes someone passes, you're like, yeah, I know that guy. So it was an awesome experience, and I'm glad I did it.
Excellent. What would you tell someone who's considering a career as an illustrator?
Well, beware. The first thing, beware. It's like it's great. On a certain obvious level, there's like, you can't go in with the expectation that it'll either immediately or even, eventually necessarily be about the money. It's got to be about the love first,
Yes.
And it's like when I was teaching workshops and stuff like that, I'd be like, it's like I could tell you horror stories of like, how crazy it is to be an illustrator, how hard it is to get work, and how it's like, artists are so underpaid and underappreciated. But I don't have to, say that to the people who are hardcore and committed, because they know the score, and they know why they're there, and they're doing it for love. For them, there's not even a question. And it's like if you tell them, it's like you have to work hard for maybe like 5 years, 10 years to get recognition.
Yeah.
It's like it's not a question for them because they're going to do it anyway. The only question is like are they going to come out of it are they going to stick with it long enough to make it a career? Yeah. You just got to lose the fear and hold on to the determination and just give her.
Yeah, it's good advice. And what have you been working on since you've been at Max?
Since I've been at Max, the second people find out that you're an art school graduate, friends, family, acquaintances, they all come out of the works. Like, I've got this idea, and it's great because like so many of them are fantastic, and you're like you just wanna do everything. You can't spread yourself too thin, and you gotta still find time at the end of the day to like earn money and pay rent. And then a lot of these projects, they're going to be labors of love at first, and like the payoff will be in the distance, and sometimes like hypothetical.
Yeah.
But you do the work first, and then you'll have a product to show, and then maybe who knows, it'll be fantastic, because there's the old thing. It's like nothing's new under the sun, and everything's been done. It's like, well, that's fine. That's one way of looking at it, but but there's also everything can be new, and every single idea that's out there is just like waiting to be discovered. Any two ideas waiting to be synthesized together, and all you got to do is recognize it when you see it and say, this is a golden idea. I'm going to jump on this. I'm going to do it. And 10 years from now, when everyone's doing it, they'll be like, oh yeah, he was the first one to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do. It's like a whole bunch of ex-grads. We're not waiting for someone to approach us and give us like the golden ticket or whatever. It's like we're doing it ourselves. We want to start the next heavy metal or shonen jump. And it's we're gonna do Evil Tentacle.
Yeah.
And we'll see where that goes, but it's just like we just want to get a whole bunch of people in the same thing, telling stories, and make something that is like maybe it's a throwback to a bygone era of like the 70s, but it's like this in so many ways, despite the crowd, the medium itself, it's like it's not necessarily flourishing, so we got to do all we can to pump it back up and to throw gasoline on the fire and reignite it, because it's just as valid and just as important as it was in the past, and we got to remind people of that. It's not going away; it'll never die. It's always got to be kept alive by like diehards.
Yeah, that's great, man. Have any final words you'd like to add?
I don't know. Keep up the hustle. Okay, yeah. One thing my mentor told me, and he knows who he is there's no such thing as talent.
Yeah.
And you might look at someone else who to you is like a god, and you might venerate the ability and think you're not worthy, and you can never be that person. That may be so, but it's down to you. It's not on anyone else, and it's like you can put in the time, and anyone can be good. They can get good. It's just you got to work at it, spend the 10,000 hours, and teach yourself and train yourself, and by the end, I guarantee you'll have something that you didn't have at the beginning, and you'll be able to look back and say, it's like this stuff I'm doing now would have been impossible before, and I never would have thought I could do it.
Yeah.
And the idea that it's some kind of magical thing, that's great. I'll take that. But it's not really magic. You just got to know how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have a blog or website that someone could go to see your work?
We've got. Let's see. We got Evil Tentacle Comics. .com. I'm gonna say Evil Tentacle Comics. Just look us up. You'll find us, regardless of what this suffix is. Tumblr is always a great asset. Everyone's got to go on Tumblr. I'm at hcfm.tumblr, which is Hardcore Fenton Mud, and I guess you just gotta keep creating and broadcast yourself on everything. Like Tumblr, Facebook, the whole work. Just like secrete yourself out there and shove your stuff in people's faces. Make sure they see it. If they like it, great. If they hate it, that's great too, It's like someone's got an opinion about you. Maybe they'll be able to give you some advice,
If you enjoyed this video and would like to learn more about the programs at Max the Mutt, check out our website at www.maxthemutt.com. If you would like to watch the full Fan Expo video or more interviews, click on the video thumbnails.